Desire whispers in a language older than speech. It does not knock politely. It coils in the bloodstream and waits. You feel it as hunger, as longing, as a sudden need to reach for something. A lover, a drug, a flashing screen, a risky idea. It tells you that if only you obtain this one thing, you will finally be whole. But desire lies. It leads millions toward the very traps that break them. Philosophers have warned for centuries that we rarely chase what nourishes us. We chase what burns. Why? Because the mind is built to crave not what is safe, but what is charged with danger. As Schopenhauer wrote, though in different words, will is blind. It pushes forward without caring whether its object destroys the seeker. Tonight, we enter the dark machinery of wanting. Why you desire what may ruin you, and how ancient thinkers already saw the code behind your cravings. Long before modern psychology named dopamine or reward circuits, ancient voices warned that desire is not freedom. Plato spoke of the soul as a chariot driven by two horses, one noble and disciplined, the other wild and unruly. The rider, your rational mind, struggles to hold the reins. Most people never win. They believe they are steering, but the dark horse of appetite pulls them into hidden ditches. Centuries later, the Buddha declared that desire is the root of suffering. He did not mean only lust or greed. He meant the subtle ache for anything, approval, comfort, even existence itself. Every grasping motion ties another knot around the heart. The Stoics of ancient Rome echoed the same warning. Epictetus said that freedom is found not in getting what you crave, but in mastering the impulse to crave at all. To them, the one who cannot say no is already a slave, even if no chains are visible. Consider what these voices share across continents and centuries. Plato, the Buddha, the Stoics. Each saw desire as a trap disguised as a gift. And yet, humanity did not stop wanting. Why? Because desire is not just a bad habit. It is the engine of the species. Modern science finally gave language to what the ancients felt in their bones. Deep inside the brain, chemicals like dopamine light up not when we possess something, but when we anticipate it. The chase excites us more than the catch. That is why the thrill fades the moment you get what you thought you needed. The system is designed not for satisfaction, but for perpetual pursuit. This is where darkness enters. If the mind rewards anticipation, then the most intoxicating targets are often those just out of reach. The dangerous lover, the forbidden substance, the impossible dream. We want what resists us because resistance keeps the chase alive. Friedrich Nietzsche once observed that humans love obstacles, that we secretly crave the tension of striving against something powerful. He suggested that suffering itself becomes seductive when it proves our vitality. Pain tells us we are alive. Desire exploits this. It convinces you that the burn in your chest is a sign of meaning, when it may only be the nervous system feeding on its own sparks. Arthur Schopenhauer went further. He believed the universe itself is a blind will to life, an endless surge of wanting with no final object. Even when you achieve your goals, the will simply invent new ones. Fulfillment is not the end of desire. It is the beginning of the next hunger. To Schopenhauer, existence is a pendulum swinging between pain, when we want, and boredom, when we briefly stop wanting. Either way, the will wins. Notice how this matches your own experience. You dream of the relationship, the job, the recognition. You imagine the day it arrives, the rush of completion. Then it comes. And within weeks, sometimes days, the mind whispers, "What's next?" This is not personal failure. It is architecture. Imagine desire not as a feeling, but as a predator wearing the mask of a friend. It follows you through childhood, learning your weaknesses. It discovers the scents that make you restless, the words that make you blush, the risks that quicken your pulse. When it strikes, it does not shout. It seduces. Pascal once wrote that all of humanity's problems stem from our inability to sit quietly in a room. In stillness, we meet the raw emptiness that desire is built to fill. So we flee into noise, scrolling screens, romantic drama, endless plans. Desire is happy to guide us because each distraction feeds its hunger. Modern culture supercharges this game. Advertising does not simply sell products. It sells the promise of completion. Every glowing billboard and perfectly filtered photo whispers the same ancient lie. You lack something. We can fill the gap, but the gap was designed never to close. Think of the relationship that felt electric precisely because it was unstable. The lover who left you guessing kept your brain flooded with anticipation. The pain was the hook. Desire thrives on that tension. A feedback loop of pleasure and suffering that feels irresistible because it is meant to. Nietzsche warned that what we call love is often just the will to possess, to make another soul a piece of our own story. He implied that even our highest passions hide a darker motive: to conquer, to merge, to escape ourselves. And yet we celebrate these drives as romantic, because the culture of desire needs our worship to survive. The ancient philosophers warned of desire's chains, but they could not imagine a world like ours. A planet wired with glowing networks where billions of hungers are measured, graphed, and sold. Today, desire is not merely a force of nature. It is an industry. Scroll through a single feed and you see it. Algorithms that study every hesitation of your thumb, predicting which image will spark a micro jolt of wanting. These systems do not need to know your soul. They only need your patterns. The time of day you feel lonely, the colors that make you pause, the words that draw a slightly longer blink. With each pause, the machine learns to feed you precisely what will keep you reaching. The ancient dark horse of appetite now has engineers and quarterly targets. Consumer culture rewards this endless chase. Fashion cycles accelerate until what you buy today feels obsolete by the weekend. Streaming platforms release stories in carefully timed arcs so that anticipation never dies. Even dating apps gamify affection, turning love into a slot machine of faces and pings. You are not merely a participant. You are the product, and desire is the data being harvested. The philosopher Guy Debord once described modern life as an endless spectacle, a parade of images that replace direct experience. We do not just want things, we want the feeling of wanting itself, served back to us in curated loops. The spectacle does not care if you ever arrive. It only cares that you keep moving. Notice how perfectly this matches the brain's design. Dopamine surges for the chase, and the market sells nothing but chases. The pleasure is in the reaching, and so the objects of desire must remain forever just out of reach. It is not a flaw of capitalism. It is the feature. But desire is not confined to commerce. Its most dangerous theater is intimacy. Romantic longing can intoxicate more deeply than any drug or algorithm. Here, the stakes are not money or status, but identity itself. Consider how quickly love can slide into obsession. The ancient Greeks named several kinds of love: eros for passionate desire, philia for friendship, agape for unconditional care. Of these, eros burns the brightest and the shortest. It feeds on tension, mystery, the possibility of loss. As long as you cannot fully possess the other, the brain releases the chemistry of pursuit. Once possession seems secure, those sparks begin to fade. This is why the most addictive relationships are often the most unstable. The lover who alternates between warmth and withdrawal keeps the cycle alive. Pain, relief, anticipation, repeat. Psychologists call it intermittent reinforcement. Nietzsche would simply call it the will to power wearing the costume of romance. Even suffering can feel meaningful when it occurs in the name of love. You tell yourself the highs are worth the lows, that the burning in your chest proves the depth of your passion. But often it proves only this: desire values intensity over peace. It wants the storm, not the harbor. Schopenhauer, ever the pessimist, believed that romantic love is nature's trick, a strategy to ensure reproduction while individuals mistake biological will for personal destiny. To him, the grand declarations of lovers were merely the blind force of life seeking another generation. Whether or not you accept his cynicism, you cannot ignore the pattern. The more dangerous the attachment, the stronger the pull. If desire is this ancient, this biological, is freedom even possible? The philosophers offer no easy escape, but they do leave clues. The Stoics practiced what they called negative visualization, imagining the loss of what they loved to weaken attachment. By rehearsing absence, they trained the mind to loosen its grip before fate could rip it away. This is not despair, it is preparation. Buddhist teachings suggest another path: to observe desire without feeding it. When a craving arises, watch it as you would a cloud passing across the sky. Do not fight it, but do not obey it either. Cravings swell, peak, and dissolve when denied the fuel of action. In that pause lies freedom. Modern neuroscience supports these ancient practices. Studies of mindfulness show that simply labeling a desire, urge to check phone, urge to eat, urge to text, reduces the brain's automatic response. Naming the predator weakens its claws, but awareness is only the first move. The second is what Nietzsche called the creation of values. He argued that one must build a personal code stronger than the instincts inherited from biology or culture. To say yes to life is not to obey every impulse, but to shape them into art. To decide what deserves your energy and what does not. Freedom, then, is not the absence of desire. It is the ability to choose which desires deserve obedience. Here is the paradox. Desire is not evil. It built civilizations, fueled art, and carried human beings across oceans and into space. Without the restless ache to reach for more, we would still be crouched in the dark. The danger is not desire itself, but the blindness it demands. The ancients warned that the unexamined life is ruled by forces it cannot see. The modern world amplifies those forces until the chase feels like destiny. But you are not only a creature of appetites, you are also the witness to them. The rider who can, with training, pull the reins of the wild horse. There are two required responses. First, see the loop. Second, interrupt it. Begin by noticing when excitement feels suspiciously close to anxiety. Ask which of your hungers are truly yours, and which were planted by someone who profits from your pursuit. Then practice the smallest rebellion. Wait. Do not answer every signal. Do not scratch every itch. Each moment of refusal is a crack in the circuitry. Remember the words often attributed to the Stoics. If you would be free, learn first to be a servant, but only to the right master. Choose your master carefully. Let it be purpose, not impulse. Let it be creation, not consumption. Let it be a life that you, not the machinery of desire, have authored. Only then does desire lose its fangs and become what it was meant to be. A fire you hold, not a fire that holds you. You will still want. You will still feel the quickening heartbeat when something forbidden glows in the distance. But now you will also hear the faint machinery behind the music. And in that moment, between the rise of the craving and the choice to obey, you will discover a power older than desire itself, the power to stop. If you want to decode deeper layers of the mind, subscribe and stay in the decoding process.